The scripture reading, I didn't choose it, but it seems to fit very well. When you seek me in prayer and worship, you will find me available to you. Actually, this is a different translation. If you seek me in your heart, if you seek me with all your heart and soul, and I can be reading it in King James. Maybe others might find that more familiar. And ye shall seek me and find me when ye shall search for me with all your heart. So, yeah, it fits my feelings and like my experiences a lot. So, yeah. So, if different moments, if I have a hard time and start maybe crying a little bit, please forgive me. Just might have to be taking a moment, but basically just it kind of giving a bit of a background. When I was younger and like growing up, like really I didn't really have any kind of faith at all. I didn't really know the Lord. I wasn't sure if there was a God, and if there was one, it's like, I didn't agree with him or didn't like him. So, but just because I was just very confused on a lot of things. But and a lot of it was I started out that way, but when you are that way, but then you're in school around other children that don't have a faith and don't have any wisdom or any Christian beliefs, they can really be guiding you away or guiding you to very bad things and wrong opinions so easily, because you're so easily influenced. And just so when I was in school, I never got into drugs, but I had friends that were into drugs. I didn't know it right away, but I started to learn about them. And just the difference, a couple of them, they would be doing things like stealing things from stores, and obviously they were not very good influences at all. But when I graduated, I didn't really hang around those friends, so it kind of was a blessing that it was like a natural separation, even though I didn't try to have that. But basically, I think it was summer of 2008 when I had started working a job, but my grandmother, she passed away. My dad's mom, she passed away, and just basically one thing that always, at least in my heart, made me to be feeling mad against God was that, because she was always a very a strong Christian, but she started, I guess, having Alzheimer's and strokes and different things when very early on. So once I got older, I really didn't remember much about her. So I just remember her being in the nursing home, really. But I just remember visiting her there, and she would always be just not much emotion, but then she was starting to be like she was in pain, and be saying just please Lord, like she was praying, but that's all she would say, just please Lord, and for my understanding, to me it was why isn't he helping her? And it really caused a wall in my heart. But I trust that it was a reason, and maybe it was either her understanding or just that her faith was so strong even in that moment that she was trusting him, even though she might have been in pain, she was still trusting him and loving him, and that now that actually kind of helps a lot. So when she passed away, there was some family that I had never met before from my dad's side, some cousins, my grandmother's sister, their children, they came down to visit for the funeral, and I'd never met them before, and we were just talking, and they suggested that I come up to visit them. And then, it was probably, they were obviously thinking about me going to church with them, but I didn't really know that or understand it, so I went up to visit. And when I started going to their church, but I really didn't have any feeling about it. It was I just thought I thought that I was like, I don't know, more intelligent or more smart than they, like, like all these silly people, they believing in this, they're so silly. But just, just one of the, like in that, in just one of the times I went to visit, I think 2, maybe 3 times. I mean nope, sorry. The kind of church, I mean, it was, I can't remember, it was a non-denominational church, but I mean, like, it wasn't really during one of the worship services or anything that I felt the Spirit. Basically, it was just a sermon, and I really can't even remember the sermon because I wasn't paying attention at all. It's like, it wasn't anything emotional. It was just, for some reason something like kind of came over me, even though just a few minutes before I really didn't care about the Lord. Something kind of came over me and made me to be, I don't know, like a feeling like, oh, I want to be reading the Bible. I need to be learning about these things. I really need to be knowing Him, even though it really did not make sense to me. I just really felt Him come over me in that moment. And just, even though I didn't understand it, I was like, okay, Lord, if it's you, then I trust you, and I trust your guidance and where you're going to be leading me in my life. I asked Him that He would be leading me to a true faith and a deep understanding and a deep faith, not just what this church teaches or that church teaches. I want to be learning what His Word says. And because before that I always thought the Bible either contradicted or just wasn't true or wasn't accurate, but I asked Him that He would be like showing me what the truth is, not just what I can be understanding on my own, but what His truth through His Word is, and showing me how true it is. And then just, so from there, because I went back home, I didn't have any church. They were like more than like almost 2 hours away, so it's no possibility of going back there. So I had to be searching for a church on my own and everything. So, for a long time I really didn't have a church, but I was still going. But in that time, I wanted to be finding obviously any guy would want to be finding a girl, but I realized in that time that obviously I don't want to have any girl. I would need to be finding a girl that would be having a faith. Now that this is important to me, I need to be finding a girl that it is also important to. So, and not having a church or anything, I was kind of on a it was a thing on Facebook called Yoville, where you can be like having like chat rooms and just like a kind of like a game. So, but I made like a chat room that said, okay, Christian guy looking for a Christian girl. And in that, I mean, different people, guys and girls, they would be coming. Just, I don't know, it's kind of strange, but I think one of the times, like the 3rd or 4th time I did that, just talking, and it just slowly, people kind of dwindle away. They go, they leave and everything. And after, when it got kind of late, eventually there was just one left. And up to that point, she was being so quiet, she didn't say like barely anything. But but it turns out it was Paula. So we started to be talking and getting to know each other. And that was on, if I remember correctly, it was on June 20, it had to be June 27th, I think. So because, she sent me like something on Facebook, and I remember looking at it and it said June 27th, I think. So, that kind of always stuck with me. But it was the following August, only like 2 months later, August like 19th or 20th, that I went to go visit her for the first time. And and it was really so amazing to be like finally meeting a girl that had like a true and deep faith, not just like I don't know what you call it, like a routine or tradition, just be okay, we're doing this, but then they just leave and then they just live their own life, whatever they want. She actually was a girl that actually had true faith and a true belief and a love for the Lord. And that was so amazing for me, because I hadn't really seen that before. So, I went a couple times, and just the way the Lord was leading, He wasn't leading for for things to be going so fast at that time. And at the time I was having a hard time finding a job, which is obviously is very important. So yeah, so there's that was in 2009, so there's many years. And in my opinion, the Lord, He was asking us to be waiting, because obviously they're now thinking back. I can see that would have been way too soon after I was saved to be having something with her, because for a guy to be having a girl, he needs to be wise and like having a solid foundation. And that time I had no solid foundation. I was like very new, like a baby. So yeah, if something would have happened then, I mean, I guarantee them it would not have been happy. And I would have been making so many bad decisions, because I did not have the faith, the walk yet. I'd only been walking just a few steps in comparison. So the Lord had me to be waiting, to be preparing me, and there's lots of different things that He did to be preparing me. So after that, sorry. And just after I came back, and just since I was saved, I had been working lots of different jobs, and not lots of different, but as an electrician, you can be working with different companies, but kind of the same job. And then I was on other jobs, other occupations after that. But I started to really notice that it's the big difference from when you're not a Christian and when you're a Christian. You start realizing that about all the how people are. It's like you don't realize how wrong the world is, and how the decisions that the world can be making, or the influences they can be having on your life. It's like you're talking with people and you think, especially after having a faith and learning what is true, to you it's so obvious. But then you try to share that with somebody, and it's like you're talking a different language. They don't understand, because they don't have the Spirit, and it's like they want to be going their own way. They want to be, I can't remember, there's a verse where it says that in the latter days and the last times, that people are going to be lovers of pleasure more than lovers of God. And it's exactly the way the world is. They always want what's going to be making them happy, like physically, and just, I want this, I want fast cars, I want fancy cars and this and that, and they're so focused on like everything else, but they don't care at all about the Lord. Or maybe they do, they say they do, but then their actions show different things, or their attitude about how they treat you can be showing something else, even though they say they're Christian. So just different jobs I was on, I was really seeing that about, like say I was giving different people rides, like carpooling, and it's like he was, before, like he would be asking for the ride, he would be acting like he was a Christian, and then once I give him a ride, he would be just like kind of so rude, and be kind of like obviously taking advantage of the generosity that I was trying to be giving him. But to me, that's fine. I mean, we cannot. Actually, there's a few verses that are in here that are kind of about that. I saved them about like giving to people, even if we think, not that we want them to take advantage of us, but to be giving and be generous with people, even if they don't have a good spirit or are not good. That we're in Luke 6:27. It says, "But I say to you who are listening, love your enemies and do good to those who hate you. Bless those who curse you. Pray for those who mistreat you. To the person who strikes you on the cheek, offer the other as well. And from the person who takes away your coat, do not withhold your tunic either. Give to everyone who asks you, and do not ask for your possessions back from the person who takes them away. Treat others the same way that you would want to be treated, or that you would want them to treat you." And then a few verses down, 35 and 36. "But love your enemies and do good and lend, expecting nothing back. Then your reward will be great in heaven, and you will be sons of the Most High, because He is kind to the ungrateful and evil people. Be merciful, just as your Father is merciful." And just different times I would be reading like that. Obviously our our inclination is to be like, no, this is mine, no, you can't have it. But as different moments, these kind of verses be continually coming up and be like guiding me how my attitude should be. And it's like, there has to be a balance of just letting people to be taking advantage of you, and also be using things like that to be a testimony to them that they can be seeing the love of God. If you give to them so generously, even if they treat you so badly, they later on, even if you don't see the fruit, it plants seeds that can later on, even if you never see the fruit come, it can later on be growing into be bearing fruit. So just different moments like that, things like that was one example of things I needed to be learning. Learning that I didn't know in 2009 when I first met Paula, and I really started to be seeing how much I needed to be growing. And another thing was, when I was first talking with her, she was using a word called courtship, and to me that was so strange. I never heard that word before, so I was starting to research it. And I was starting to research it because that was so foreign to me. I didn't understand it. And once I was researching it, I started to realize that how the world is in a relationship and how they are dating and getting to know each other is very different than how the Lord would want us to be doing it, to be getting to know each other. And it's a totally different concept. I mean, as Christians, maybe we don't think it's totally different, but when you're really in both places in the world, and then later you become a Christian, you really start seeing the stark or the very great contrast between the two. So, it's like I started realizing how much I needed to be learning, and I wasn't ready at all. In some ways, I still feel like I'm not ready, but we're always praying that the Lord would be teaching us and guiding us and shaping us into the person He would be wanting us to be for the people that we'll be spreading the gospel to, but also the kind of person that we would be with someone, whether it be our children or future, in the future, our wife, so that we would be the kind of person to be building their faith and they would be building ours and be placing that faith into the children. And all of that I had no clue about, so I had to be learning that. But that just took a lot of time. So that was actually from say 2009 until maybe 2014, 2015, somewhere in there. It really felt like that was the time that He was using to teach me the most, which is so many years. But just the different people, and especially about when I met John and the different people here, I've really learned a lot. Just about how to be loving, how to be a good steward of the faith, a good manager of the faith that He gives to us, and that we could always be being generous, but always being the responsibilities. It's sometimes we can think it's so easy, but there are many responsibilities that come with being a Christian and in the walk that I really didn't understand. So, but I've really been grateful for all the people that have taught me so much. And and one of the things that kind of actually my mom, she started to be having strokes before I was saved, before I was a Christian, and how that started to happen. That was also kind of creating a problem with me in my heart, that I really needed to be trusting Him in that, because it made me to be asking the Lord about, okay, why is this happening with her? Why couldn't she be getting better? But it really took time to be coming to terms that His will is sometimes we don't understand it, but obviously how she was that way, he had a purpose for it. How it was affecting the lives of our family and everyone around. Some people would say it was bad, but other times you could say it was good because it challenged us to be kind of growing and just like to be growing our love for her and taking care of her. I'm sorry, but I just really wish that we would have had her for a few more years. But of course, I trust the Lord completely and without any reservations. Sorry, everything up to this point, I can be seeing everything the Lord has been doing, like step by step, about the different jobs that I was working, that each one of those was like teaching me about just different things, to be growing into a man, to be knowing how to do different things that I didn't know really about being a man, and be managing a family. And that's another more of the things that the Lord needed to be teaching me. But about eventually how to be a husband and how to be a father. Those are not something that you can go into lightly. And even though so many people in the world do, that it's not a small thing. And I needed so much teaching in that. But she is one of my, ever since I met her, Paula, ever since I met her, she has, even though there was a time, like many years, where he was using that time to be teaching me, it's like she was the one that, if I was asking the Lord to be guiding me about how to be a man, about how he would want me to be leading a family, she was the one that came to my mind. She was like, if I pray about the girl that he would want me to be with, she was the one that I was dreaming about the future with, and about having children, about teaching them about the Lord, and about different things, like, okay, in the morning I want us to be able to be waking up, maybe different days, maybe we could be like singing like good worship songs together in the morning, and then okay, at night we can be reading the Bible together, and and be reading the Bible with our children. Anytime I had any thought about that, she was the one that came to my mind about that. So, and I really cannot imagine, like, after everything that the Lord has guided us to, and I've seen how the Lord has grown her and grown her faith. I mean, obviously she is the same girl in so many ways, but in other ways, I've seen how, in faith-wise, her faith is different. And her faith is stronger and deeper, and she is much more wise and mature than when I first met her. And I really cannot imagine my life without her. So I really don't want to be without her. So as the ending of my testimony, even though it wasn't so long, I've heard other testimonies that were longer, but just as a closing for the testimony, I would like to be asking one thing, and I hope I can maybe be getting a good answer. I don't know, but I really don't want to be having my life without you. So I would ask that, would you please consider being the most important, most amazing blessing of my life forever? Would you be my wife? Thank you. Yeah, I'm sorry, what did you say?
I said yes.
Thank you. Thank you. John, I'm not sure about how to end it, but I guess, do we have the closing hymn?
I just wanted to say that it's been a real privilege to know Daniel for the last, 3 years?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure, as well myself, everybody else here wishes him the very best and become a good friend. And I applaud your testimony this morning, and I know it wasn't easy to do. And I think that let's give him an amen for amen. Thank you.
I really wish my mom could have been here today, but
Well, some things are not to be. It's too bad. Some things we don't understand. But the whole thing is that we keep trusting him anyway.
Mhm.
But yeah, I wish you could have been. But, let's have our closing song at this point.